Angry Andy reviews.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy reviews. Angry Andy reviews. Angry Andy reviews. Angry Andy reviews.
Don't make me destroy you.
So, Snow White, the remake of the beloved classic, the beloved animated classic that changed Hollywood, changed movies, not just animation movies, but changed movies for all time. And they've remade it. Yes, we've had other versions of Snow White since, haven't we? We had Snow White and the Huntsman with Charlize Theron.
That is one big pile of shit.
And that went down like a ton of bricks. You know, it's a story that's been retold several times, but Disney has never remade it. As far as I'm aware, there's not even one of those shitty sequels to it. It's literally a locked-in-time classic that transcends time. It transcends everything. The animation is still full of wonder and brilliance and beauty. The facial expressions from the dwarves are something that you can still admire today. The level of craft in Snow White, despite, its aged tone, its aged sort of mentality, which I'm not really going to criticise at all, really, in this, because I think it is a product of its time. But like I said, it does still transcend time. Everything still resonates with us today. It's the simplicity of beauty. It's the simplicity of storytelling. Storytelling done with heart and desire and purpose. And we come to this film, and I'm not really going to get into the controversies or all of that nonsense. Your politics is your politics at the end of the day. I don't express my politics at all in any of my reviews because I simply don't have the energy or time to do so. It would override what I'm here to do, and what I'm here to do is to talk about the film and what happens in the film. And I have to say, fundamentally, there are some things that are okay in the movie. I think the vitriol, to be fair, to say that the main actress is perfectly fine in some parts of the film. I don't think she does anything too terrible, to be fair. And Gal Gadot, if I'm pronouncing her name right as well, I don't think she does too much wrong either. It's a bit hammy. It's a bit too much. I don't think the costumes, the set, or the design really suit them at all, and I'll get into that. But they're okay for the most part. The problem is with this film is that fundamentally it is just messy. It's absolutely messy. It is riddled with issues from the top down. It is ultimately probably the most misguided Disney remake there is. And I think that's more damning than any of the diving into what Rachel Zegler said, about X, Y, and Z, or the alleged, confrontations between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Like I said, I'm not interested in that. I don't really follow suit with any of that at all. I just think this movie is fundamentally misguided to the max. Every single stage of this film just feels like they've tried to go back and change things and add things. Why? The whole purpose of the story is very similar to what the original was, except there's no prince. He's just a thief. He's a bandit kind of person. We have Snow White going into the woods, coming across the dwarves, and then she meets these bandit troop as well. And it almost feels as though that's two different stories that have been put together, really. It's bizarre. It's almost like they wanted to have the bandits be the main focus originally, and then there was all that uproar about them, and then what Peter Dinklage just said about everything. There's so much that's gone on with this film behind the scenes and alongside it. You wonder if it hasn't had some major impact on the way this was crafted and the way it was told. I just think fundamentally it looks dreadful. It does look dreadful. when you consider, as I've said, the simplicity in the drawings, the simplicity in the craft, and it's not simple. It's not simple at all. But what I'm saying is, in simplicity, is that it doesn't take much for you to stretch your imagination and feel the feelings that the character's going through in the original film. When Grumpy is, slowly being converted to, Snow White's charms, when she gives him a kiss on the head, there is so many varying emotions that come through from him in those 10-15 seconds of the film. The level of variation in art style is incredible, and you pick up on every single minute detail of the emotions he's going through when he's being stoic. No, I'll go out, I'll get a kiss, and he gets kissed on the head, then he walks off, and there's that wry smile, there's the acknowledgement, and then he goes, no, I must remain who I am. I'm grumpy, I must be grumpy. Here, the characterizations of the dwarves, the animation is dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. It's without any sort of depth or meaning. The CGI is a curse on films like this. It's an absolute curse, because somehow these CGI characters look less real or impactful than they did in the bloody cartoon, which is nearly 100 years old. How the fuck have you managed to do that?
Blind, stupid, simple, doodah, clueless.
How, in this universe, can you create something that's so backwards? It's baffling to me. It really is baffling to me. The heart, fundamentally, and the whole thing about Snow White, the core of Snow White is the heart. The Queen wants her heart in a fucking box in the animated film. And that's the whole thing. It's a theme. It's the depth of your heart and what you can mean to somebody else. In this film, it feels empty. It feels vapid. It feels loose, as though somebody's cobbled together several ideas of story and gone, oh, this'll work, we don't need to bother with any of that. Well, no, you do, by removing the fundamentals of the story, by not necessarily changing but adapting it in a way. You've undermined it. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And then we still get the moment where the evil queen turns into, the old hag, which always terrified me when I was a child. And I'm not a massive lover of Snow White at all, but I can appreciate the impact culturally, worldwide. It's and when she does turn into the old hag, we get the whole moment of, falling into sleeping death, as it is, I think it's called. And obviously the bandit, who's not a prince, heaven forbid he's a prince, he comes and gives her a mournful kiss. She awakens, and then rather than it being some the resounding end where the dwarves go and do the work and chase her down, the evil queen, and she falls to her death. Instead, we have this cobbled together fucking ending of where she rallies everyone together, the entire town, the entire village, whatever it fucking is, to remind them what her parents stood for. Because there's all this backstory about her parents now, which is fine. I think, do we really need it? No. Have we just put it in there together to justify a runtime? Yes.
Stupid boy.
And we have the evil queen, try and defend what kingdom she's got, and in a rage she destroys the mirror and becomes the mirror, I suppose. It's all very cobbled together. It's all very nonsensical. And I don't know. I came away from it all just thinking, why did you have to do this? Why did you have to do this? I don't, like I said at the start, I don't have any stock in any of the controversy. I'm not interested in any of that shit. What I'm interested in is good storytelling, good movie making. And for the love of me, I can't find anything in this film that I can say was great storytelling, was great filmmaking. From the top down, I do think this is an absolute mess of a movie. I'm not angry. I'm just really fucking disappointed that Disney have sunk so low to these kind of terrible decision making, to these terrible movies. The worst one prior to this was Dumbo. I thought Dumbo was an absolute travesty. Again, destroying a legacy, destroying a cultural impact. Yes, I know it has its problems. You know, again, it's a product of its time that transcends time. That's what makes Disney movies so perfect. The original animated classics coming up to, you know, the revival in the 90s. They're perfect because they transcend time. Even if they have moments in them where, you know, which you know, don't sort of match modern perceptions or whatever, they still transcend time. They still resonate themes and moments. My daughter is nearly 3 years old and she's starting to watch these movies, and you can see the wonder in her eyes. There's no wonder in this movie at all, this remake of Snow White. There's no wonder. There's only confusion and ill-judged attempts to revitalise something that didn't need to be revitalised, something that didn't need to be retold or retooled or anything. It needed to be left as it is. It's in the cultural archives for a fucking reason, and it's like, I don't know, getting a football and changing the shape of the football and saying, oh, this will make the game better. It probably won't. It'll probably make everyone forget about it when they revert back to what it was. And unfortunately, this is what will happen with this Snow White. It will be forgotten about. You will not see any resemblance of this movie in the Disney parks. It will land on Disney Plus in about 6 months' time. It'll be number one for a while, and then it will fucking vanish again, because that's all that ever happens with these remake movies. They're flash in the pans, they mean nothing, because they're empty, they're soulless, they don't have any heart. Now I'm getting angry. The more I think about it, I'm angry. Not because of what's been said, just because of the construction of it. Stop doing this fucking shit, Disney. For the love of Christ, stop doing this absolute shit. And that's all I've got to say on this movie. I've not delved too deeply into what happens in the film because I don't think this movie deserves your time or effort. It's one of those, if you're thinking about taking your children to go and see this film, sit down with them and put the original Snow White on and watch that and embrace the wonder, embrace the simple heart, embrace the simple care and love that was given into that movie. Not this dribbling wreck of CGI mess, this Titanic cruising into a massive iceberg of stupidity and misguidedness. What a disappointment. Well, that's all I've got to say on this one. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please do like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this. I've yet again had to record this one on my phone because my computer is just... oh, whatever. But thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this film. If you've seen it, that is. It doesn't look like many people are watching it, to be fair. But that's the age-old thing. Talk with your wallets. You know, I watch them so that you don't have to, I guess. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.